Welcome to Pink Kink,
where we talk about the pretty, twisted side of kink.
I'm Princess Rara.
And I'm Dara, the Electro Khaleesi.
Whether you are a new kinkster or have years of experience, Pink Kink will help you level up your kink knowledge.
Join us on this journey as we talk about our personal experiences and use the knowledge we've gained over 28 years of being involved in both private and professional aspects of this lifestyle to help you explore every facet of kink.
Get set for an adventure. Not only will you learn and grow, but we promise loads of laughter, turning each episode into a fun party. So fasten your seatbelt and let's get this show started. Pink Kink runs off the generosity of our devoted patrons.
As a patron, you will become a member of our special Discord server, receive some adorable Pink Kink stickers, as well as have access to a monthly behind-the-scenes podcast. Patrons also get discounts at our Etsy shop, Pink Kink Boutique, and our online classes at Pink Kink Institute.
In addition, our impactful and electrifying Pink Kinksters get special audio and video episodes. And finally, patrons at our highest tier will be recognized as producers, both here on the podcast and on our website.
If you would like to become a patron, you can visit us at patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast or click the link at pinkkinkpodcast.com.
Today's episode is produced by our electrifying Pink Kinksters. Thank you, Jay, Witcherman, Brianna Lynn, Daddy J, Fabe, Embers, William P, Claire, Lady Blooding, Naughty and Nice, Butte Pain, Manda Panda, Kat, Stefan, Shadow Phoenix, Brian, May Cry Devil, Ruby Riot, Mistress Velma, Enchanted Sparrow, The Wombat, Impact Hazard, Twitch, The Midnight Girl, Sinful, J21, Daisy If You Do, AK Harley Chick, Violet Rain, Serenity, Belle, Eric, Lady Affliction,
Pumpkin Pie, Ms. Tourmaline, S'more, Hacksaw, Wee Mad Beastie, To Be Better For Me, 3 a.m. Thoughts, Crash Override, Iro, Kinky Bear, Sviper No Sviping, Barbie, Navigator Bard, Frost, Sinful and Naughty, Coffee and Chaos, Noir, Mr. Pillsbury, Stitch, Peaches, Mighty Owl, Princess Sassy Pants, Chaos Monster, Jessa Lady, DJ Harlow, Ophelia, Drew, Daddy's Pumpkin, Birchbeard, Lady to Kitten, Mongoose, Sadia, Forest, and It's Valentine. Rava, do you have a shtick this time?
I don't.
You don't have a shtick?
No, because I'm really excited to talk about this topic because it's one of my favorite things to talk about.
Do I need to get you a soapbox?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Be right back. All right, soapbox achieved. Go.
I appreciate that it's a pink soapbox too.
I painted it. Did you see that? It was.
I appreciate that.
Pretty.
Well, we're getting to talk about one of my favorite things, TikTok.
Fuck.
Well, I'm actually going to thank or blame, and you get to decide which one it should be. Our friend Iro.
Blame.
Okay.
If Iro was involved, this is most definitely blame.
But Iro asked a question in our patron server, which, by the way, if you want to join our patron server, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast. And you too can be a member of our patronage for only as little as $2 a month, where you will get access to our Discord server, where Dara and I are very, very active. So you will be able to talk to us at any time. If you join some of the other levels, you'll get some extra bonuses. So check that out. Anyway, back to our show.
I was going to say, you haven't done that in a couple of episodes now.
So that's why I thought it was time.
Yeah, nicely done.
But the question was asked about our opinion, which was exciting because we love to share our opinions. Our opinion about kink education on social media such as Instagram and TikTok, and how that compared to the whole 50 Shades kerfuffles. And did we think this was a good thing or a bad thing? And I said, aha, episode idea.
God damn it, Iro.
So thank Iro for such a great idea, or blame them. Up to you.
Blame.
And I think this topic is so relevant and important because, first of all, social media, especially TikTok, has really just kind of overtaken society. I don't know anybody who is not on social media that is my age or younger. Maybe the older folks, maybe some of our boomers aren't, but even some of the boomers are showing up on TikTok, and I am here for it.
I don't know about that. The oldest one I've seen is Gen X.
You've never seen the boomers doing some of the TikTok trends in the nursing homes? It is the cutest thing.
Boomers are in nursing homes?
Yeah, some of them are. Yeah.
How old are the oldest boomers?
I was told there'd be no math.
Oh. I guess that's something I'm going to look up on my own and post it later.
Thank you. But yeah, no, there's a lot of boomers out there. They're adorable when they come onto TikTok. And Tara's like, no, they're not. Yes,
No.
Then you're not watching the right ones. Okay,
You'll have to send me some and get them going on my
on there because
FYP.
I've sent you TikToks of two old women doing stuff in the nursing home, and I've sent you and I've said, this is going to be us someday.
Oh. Yeah,
and
you're
being
right.
that I'm the very first year of Gen X, then anybody older than me is a boomer.
Yeah, but like I'm trying to figure out if they're boomers or if they're like silent gens.
That's true.
Because silent gens would be like 90s and 80s and stuff right now. Boomers are in their 70s and...
No, 70s, 80s. Because my parents are boomers and they're just turning 80.
Mine are boomers and they're 75, 76.
Yeah.
So...
Anyway. So, and the problem is that social media is really shaping the perceptions and the practices in BDSM. And sometimes they get it right. And a lot of times they don't get it right.
Most of the time.
As somebody who is, if you haven't already figured it out, very, very active and spends way too much time on social media, specifically TikTok.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
And
That's not
as
a
somebody who has also read 50 Shades of Grey, when I hear people say, oh, 50 Shades of Grey was so bad and all the misinformation and this and that, my response to them is always, you think that's bad?
Wait till you see TikTok.
Wait till all the people who got their education from Kink Talk and now joins the community.
I wonder if anybody has written a book yet using only the stuff that they've learned on Kink Talk.
I'm sure they have. Thankfully, I haven't read it.
I feel like that would be funny, like almost a parody.
Well, as a parody, that'd be fine.
All right, I'm going to text Amity and tell her that's her next book.
Mm-hmm. So BDSM education on social media has really been on the rise. And I've even got some numbers for you, Dara.
Oh, boy.
I have statistics so that I sound smart.
That's math, though. You said no math.
But I'm just reading it.
Oh, but it's still math and adjacent.
Because I didn't do any research. I just Googled and asked. But it makes me sound smart and knowledgeable, so I will use this information.
Okay.
All right. Here are some statistics on views and engagement for BDSM-related hashtags, specifically hashtag BDSM and hashtag KinkTalk. So the hashtag BDSM has total views of ready over 5 billion views.
Jesus, that's a lot.
Just a teeny tiny bit. And the demographics are showing that this is being predominantly viewed by users aged 18 to 35, which means that the folks who are just getting into BDSM.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy is right.
That's not great.
The hashtag KinkTalk has total views of over 2 billion.
Just the hashtag alone?
Just the hashtag alone, because there's really no other way to measure it. And mind you, there's a ton of kink-related hashtags, and there's a ton of ways we spell kink talk because we get suppressed if we talk about kink and actually say the word, and I'll get into the suppression issues later in this. But you're going to find educational videos, personal stories, demonstrations. I've seen people show, you've got vendors who are selling kink-related things. You've got, people who have educational podcasts about kink who are on there.
There's nobody like that.
Educating and showing. So, there's a lot.
They're crap. Don't listen to them.
Some of the
except for us.
Right.
All the other ones are, yeah.
Us. This is the royal us,
We.
right? The royal we.
Hey, I'm on the podcast. I'm just not on the TikTok.
The TikTok. I love that.
Yeah.
That's how you know. You're younger than me and you're calling it the TikTok.
I mean, I did that to match. The podcast, the TikTok. Sounded better in my head.
It's fine. You're all good.
Also, when it comes to social media, I'm a boomer.
Yes, you are. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the other related hashtags you're going to see that get billions of views include hashtag DomSub, hashtag Kinky Life, hashtag BDSM Community. I have 2 lists of kink-related hashtags that I don't use on TikTok because TikTok, but I use on like Instagram. And it's so many. And as I said, billions of views across these hashtags. And there's high levels of community interaction, including duets, reactions. You've got people on there who have over 1 million followers. They become, TikTok famous.
Legendary.
And there's been steady increase. So over the last 2 years, it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And you're going to see different spikes in activity with some different trends or news events related to BDSM. So let's talk about some of these notable trends and viral challenges you're going to see on TikTok. There's educational series. This is kind of what I do on there because I suck at the TikTok, as Dar would say. And I don't know how to do things too cute. I just kind of go on there and go and educate.
Listen, you do it 20 billion times better than I do. So I think you're ahead. You're not that sucky at it.
I'm trying to be more creative, not necessarily the best at it. But you've got your educational series like your BDSM 101, explaining basic terms and practices. They're short, informative clips. A lot of times they're part of a multi-part series. And the hope is that you're going to get high engagement with users asking questions and sharing their experiences. And then those questions can now generate responses and more videos and so on and so on. You've got consent and safety awareness campaigns where people are going to promote SSC. It's not, but others do. RAC. I, of course, promote prick because anytime I can promote a prick, I'm all for it.
The second you said SSC, did you see my face?
I did.
I was like, oh.
Well, remember your face with the subtitles. I read the subtitles.
I only apparently have subtitles on my face.
You've got popular hashtags like hashtag consent is key, hashtag safety first kink. And obviously the impact on this is to raise awareness on the importance of consent and safety in BDSM practices. And one of the things that a lot of us who do educate on BDSM talk about on there is because we do get some kickback from vanillas who say we shouldn't be talking about kink in an environment like TikTok. And even some of the kinksters are claiming, well, you're kinking in public by creating these BDSM 101 series and all this. And our answer to that is things like the importance of consent is not a BDSM concept. That's a human concept. And teaching young people about the importance of consent and being safe is the most important. It's along the same lines of saying, let's not teach them about sex education, because if we teach them about sex education, they'll go have sex. They'll go have sex. But if we don't teach it to them, they won't have sex.
Like basic human instinct isn't to just fuck. Monkeys have this instinct.
Like some places have tried that. Has it worked for them?
Hi, Alabama.
Yeah. So
sorry if you live in Alabama, but your education sucks.
Yeah, we're sorry.
How many people do you think actually listen to this in Alabama?
I don't know the percentage, but we have people from every single state in the union who listen to us.
Okay.
And about 165 other countries too.
Yeah, but you should do the thing where it breaks it down in percentages by state.
I can. If you want that information.
Yeah, I kind of do. I think that'd be fun. You can make a graphic out of it.
You need me to do that?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not doing it.
Okay. Well, yeah, I was expecting you to do it.
That's too many numbers.
This is how Dara does a graphic. Rara, can you help me?
Or literally anything that has to do with Canva. Quite literally, I texted her the other day and I was like, hey, I did this thing in Canva and I need it for work. Can you make it pretty?
Actually, this is what I need your help with Canva, which translate to, can you do it?
No, I had all the fucking information and I gave you what I had already.
Right, but the Canva portion of it, I have to do.
Right. Because mine was terrible.
So it's when you say, can you help me with this Canva thing? It translates to, can you do this Canva thing? I speak Dara.
Yeah. But I gave you all the information and you had to do was copy and paste it. It was fine.
And that's true.
And it's pretty now.
Because that was my boundary. And boundaries and consent are important.
And I respected that. And it looks good now, so now I can claim it as my own.
Which is a problem. I really got to not do that because then she's going to ask again.
I ask you literally once a year for
I understand.
this particular project.
I know, but I'm shoring myself up for next year.
It's not going to work. If I only ask you this once a year, I think you can be okay with it.
Fine. Some of the other things you're going to see is obviously show and tell, where users are showing their favorite BDSM toy and explaining the uses for it. And those are going to fall into kind of two separate categories. You have the vendors who are showing what they're selling because everybody's got to earn a living. And then people like me who are showing it because I'm educating about it. But even I have to be so fucking careful with what I put out there because it doesn't get shown if I really, like if I showed a flogger and said, hey, this is a flogger and this is what one does with a flogger, I could get in trouble for it.
Yep. I mean, so here's the question. Can you get in trouble for swinging the flogger even if you're not hitting anybody with the flogger? Because it kind of reminds me of when you go into a store that has like dungeon stuff, you're not allowed to swing the flogger. You remember that rule?
It's been so long since I've walked into a store because most of my vending happens at
events and stuff.
At events, yeah. And at events, they always say, by all means, try it.
Do you remember the store up in Maryland that we used to go to? They had that rule. They don't have dungeon stuff at that store anymore, so it's moot, but I'm just saying that was the rule.
Well, I think that's a good rule for the sexual stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah, sorry.
Don't test out dildos in the store. No.
But I can do things like, hi, I'm Princess Rara, and it's been 0 days since my last purchase of an implement, and then show my new implement. Because I'm doing really well. It's been a good month since I bought anything.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I mean, does it count that I commissioned something?
Did you pay for it?
Not yet.
Okay, then that doesn't count.
Okay. So yay me.
It only counts when you actually hand over the money.
Yay me. And you're looking to engage, obviously, if you're a vendor, you're looking to engage people who buy this stuff. And if you're an educator, you're looking to engage everybody else to teach them about it. You're also going to hear a lot of story time videos where they're maybe sharing personal stories about their first experiences with BDSM, or a lot of times you'll hear experiences where things went wrong because it's an opportunity to educate. I'll share stories about my experiences in the dungeon and scenes that I did, or just even mention I'm going to this type of an event. I think yesterday I posted about, and yesterday in real life, not in future timey view. I don't watch the show, so what is the proper way to do it? Timey-wimey? Is that what it is?
Yes, the term is timey-wimey.
Okay, so the people are listening to this in the future timey-wimey, but I posted it yesterday.
Not how it, okay. That's okay. I apologize to all the Doctor Who fans out there, and I know there are many of you because nerddom and kinkdom are very, very close together to the point where they overlap. Rara's only claim to the geekdom is superheroes.
Because they're sexy.
That's it.
And they know it. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Look, we've been at this all day. The third episode is always the one where we go off.
Why do you think I'm basically crashing right now and can't even look at you?
Because that's because I had no makeup on and I'm scary.
Yeah. Terrifying.
Ah!
Oh no! Rara has no makeup on. She looks like a boomer.
Oh my God. Now
Look,
you've hurt my feelings.
Look, without makeup on, I look like a boomer.
Now you've hurt my feelings.
You going to put on angry eyes or sad eyes?
Sad eyes. Do you need a tissue? I'm fine.
Then why are you wiping your eyes?
I'm fine. I'm going to go back to my story.
Okay.
About story time videos.
But with makeup on, you look like...
gorgeous, honey. I look gorgeous.
You look gorgeous. I'm awfully clipped.
The purpose of the storytime videos are obviously to both educate and relate to other people and hopefully have them share their stories with you. You've also got your myths versus facts. That's one of my favorites to do, is debunking common misconceptions about BDSM. And this is where it gets really complicated because I have debunked myths and then told I'm wrong. Which is always fascinating. One of my all-time favorites is the woman who told me that my statement that platonic kink exists is false, that there is no such thing, that all kink is sexual.
I don't understand how you could think that though. Like truly, because I can kink with you and we don't do sexual stuff.
We've had sex before.
But that doesn't mean that every scene that we do is sexual.
Yeah. Well, and for me too, it's like, what did I just do like last night at the dungeon? I had platonic kink. There was zero sexual stuff about those particular scenes.
Is it because you were naked?
Does
naked equal sexual automatically?
No, because I certainly wasn't mentioning on TikTok whether or not I was naked, because that would get me banned.
But maybe that's what they're thinking.
Maybe, but this is the problem we run into. And this particular creator had quite a large following, which again, we'll talk about that later. I'm going to get to all that and share, because I've been holding back.
What?
And share my opinions on all of this.
We're going to need a bigger soapbox.
Right. But the whole point between myths and facts is to really educate and hopefully spread awareness to as many people as TikTok will let me, which is not that great.
That's because you're not paying for it.
I had somebody ask me, was I also dealing with interaction from the bots on my videos? And my response was, TikTok would actually have to let people see my videos for me to have interactions with bots. There's also your virtual workshops and live Q&As, lives on TikToks, which I personally haven't done in forever because I haven't had time. I need to get back to doing them, where your creators can host live sessions. They can answer questions and discuss BDSM topics and have a real-time interaction with audience participation. Now, those can be a lot of fun, though you run the risk of some trolls coming on and causing problems, though you can kick them off. So there's key influencers and educators in the BDSM community. And I kind of split them up because some people are both and some people are only one. Like, I'm an educator. I'd like to think I'm an influencer, but I don't have enough of a following to be an influencer. I might be able to influence about 5 people. And then you have influencers who aren't really educators.
But they think they are.
Right? And then the BDSM education and their content styles are different. As I said, my content styles are pretty much just factual education. Occasionally, I'll come across a cute sound and I'll try to throw out a cute video, and I get compliments on it, but it doesn't necessarily. Like, of all things, on Instagram, I just posted a reel yesterday that's getting a lot of traction, more traction than I've had in a while. Do you know what this fucking goddamn reel is? A voiceover. And I'm laughing, and the voiceover says, "The new name of your vagina is the last show you watched." And I put down that the last show I had watched at that point was The Challenge.
Oh my God.
Okay. I'm having great interaction on this because people are putting down the names.
Mine is private practice.
See, there you go. I love it. But again, like, there's no education to that. That's just fun and silly. And some people will focus more on that. Some people will focus more on, the super silly. Some will focus more on the education. We have different things. But we definitely have a bunch of kink-fluencers that are spreading awareness of videos, and not necessarily true. So for those of you who don't truly TikTok, I'm just going to go over kind of a little bit of basic information of how that goddamn platform works. So when I use some of these terms, you'll know what I'm talking about, Dara, right?
This is literally, hey, Dara, this is how this shit works, okay?
So there's what makes TikTok different than just about any of the other social media platforms is their For You page. Because you have the opportunity when you open up TikTok, is you can either focus on your For You page where TikTok just suggests and shows you videos that aren't necessarily people you follow. Or then you can also go to your follows page where you just are seeing the videos and the people you follow. Most people tend to focus on the For You page because it's sometimes the people you follow will be on there, but it is also an opportunity to be exposed to new creators. Nobody quite knows how the algorithm works. It's proprietary information, I have no doubt.
Well, I do know that when I click on an ad for a new eyeliner or eyeshadow, I immediately get inundated with that same product 10 billion times.
Oh, yeah. A Big Brother knows. I went to the movies last night and I was going out to dinner to Smashburger. So I Googled the Smashburger menu so I could figure out what I wanted. And then I opened up Facebook 2 minutes later.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what I got an ad for in my Facebook? Smashburger. Like, y'all need to stop talking to each other, please.
Yeah, seriously, it's annoying.
But the algorithm relies on a combination of factors to tailor what content is going to be shown on your For You page. It looks at user interactions, video information, and even your device account settings. So obviously, I'm in America watching videos, and I'm watching videos in English. I tend really not to get videos shown to me in foreign languages that I don't understand, which is pretty much every language other than American.
Yeah.
Right? And one of the fun things you'll see a lot is people will come onto your BDSM education TikTok and make comments about, why is this shit being shown on my For You page? And it's like, dude, because you've obviously interacted with videos and the algorithm knows it. So if you keep getting shown these videos, there's a reason.
Is that when I can say this is a you problem?
Yes, you may absolutely say
that. Oh,
that.
good. I'm glad I finally got the excuse to say that. Well, I've gotten it a couple times today. But seriously, like, if you don't know that you did something to make it go there, that's on you. And Vance must be getting a whole lot of couch stuff.
And it basically allows new and niche content like BDSM education to reach a much broader audience beyond just those who follow that particular creator when it's working. It doesn't always work. The user interactions that the TikTok is looking at is it tracks your likes, your comments, your shares, and your watch time. And it's really important. And if you do want to try to support us or other creators that you like, here's the thing. Don't just go through, watch a half a second and immediately like it. You need to watch an entire video because that watch time is important, and like it at the end of the video. And don't go through and just start liking every video. Boom, 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 boom. Because for whatever reason, the algorithm looks at that as bad.
It doesn't work?
It doesn't work. It actually works against you.
Oh, that's weird.
Then, of course, you've got hashtags that you can put on your video. Hashtags like BDSM or Kink Talk, which hopefully helps the algorithm categorize and promote content to interested users. And you can use those in captions on the video. It doesn't always work because sometimes TikTok will suppress certain things. That's why things like Kink Talk, now people call it Quink instead of Kink. Mm-hmm. Or then you do K1NK or K exclamation NK.
That'd be Quunk.
So you can try to fool. And then it's going to, as I said, content is going to be matched to your preferred language as well as geographical location. So role of user engagement. If you are liking and you're sharing and you're commenting, that's going to boost the content visibility because that's telling the algorithm, ooh, this content is good, it's enjoyable, it's engaging, people like it. So it's going to show it to more people.
Okay.
So that's a good thing.
See, and I'm really actually glad you explained all of that because I seriously was one of those people that watch it for 2 seconds, like it, and then go. Because like ADHD is strong with TikTok.
No, you'll even hear people have figured this out. So you'll hear people say, hey, listen, just put the phone down, walk away, but let it run.
Yeah, but sometimes people don't tell stories very well and they're really fucking boring. And I don't want to sit through the story to get to the end.
Well, you can change the speed.
Okay,
So you can listen to it.
I might have to do that.
I've done that where people talk really slow. And it's an interesting story, but I need them to talk faster.
I don't even get to the interesting part. I'm like, this is a terrible story. Goodbye.
So sharing is also a way to help promote your favorite creators. Sharing extends the video's reach beyond just the original viewer because it exposes it to new audience. And again, high share rates are going to tell the algorithm to suggest this video, it looks fun and engaging, people are liking it, and that's more likely to help the videos go viral. Comments do the same thing. Comments indicate a deeper user engagement, so it's going to boost the algorithm because it's seen as engaging and they're promoted more. And it also gives an opportunity for conversation starters to create more posts. Like it helps me when you make a comment that tells me, oh, you guys want to talk about this, or if you have a question that tells me, oh, I need to make a new video that answers that question. And that's going to lead to higher engagement.
That makes sense.
As I said, the watch times and rewatch, watching it more once, the percentage of the video watched by users is taken into account by the algorithm, and higher completion rates are going to lead to more promotion. Looping videos. This is a new crazy thing where you make like a 2-second video, but it's not obvious that it's 2 seconds. And so somebody's watching it, and before they know it, they've watched it like 3 or 4 times.
I fucking hate those.
Before they realize, oh my God, it's just the same looping. If you save it or bookmark a video, it indicates that they found it valuable or worth revisiting. Like on TikTok, you save it to your favorites. And that gives it a positive signal to the algorithm, as well as duets and stitching. If you collaborate and create duets or stitching, that helps increase the visibility because now it's being shared with your users. And again, it tells the algorithm, this is a fun, interactive one. Keep going. So that's kind of the basic of how all this works. And the reason you're going, why is any of this important when we're talking about the BDSM education? It's because some creators who know nothing of what they talk about, but know exactly how the algorithm works and know how to play to the algorithm, thereby increasing how many people see their video filled with the wrong information. But I want to talk about positive first before I really start getting mean and nasty.
Okay.
Okay. So let's talk about the good aspects.
I was like, crap, she's scaring me.
Let's be positive. Let's have our happy faces on first.
Okay.
Before we have our angry faces.
Angry eyes.
Angry eyes. Okay. Because there are absolutely some positive aspects of BDSM education on social media. First of all, accessibility. Right? I've heard from a lot of people that obviously before social media I would never have talked to, who are like, I don't have a local dungeon. There's no munch in my community. How do I get information? How do I learn about kink? Dun, da, da, da. Well, now you have the internet, which is available to everybody. So it's breaking down the barrier to getting this information to the people who want it. It helps to break down myths. I'm coming in as somebody who's actually in the fucking dungeon all the time, who has a goddamn dungeon in their home, who has countless amounts of people that I know who are engaged in this lifestyle, and therefore I'm able to see the multitude of ways to be kinky. And I'm able to break down the common misconceptions about BDSM. Things like, oh, I don't know, you have to be in a DS relationship to be a part of BDSM.
Incorrect.
Okay? Or all kink is sexual. Platonic kink doesn't exist. What did I do at the dungeon then? Because that's what I did at the dungeon. It's what the people on the cross next to me did at the dungeon and the people on the other side of me in the spanking bench did.
How do they prove, like, what is their context for it's sexual?
Because according to the dictionary, if you look up the definitions, sex is part of the definition, which is unfortunate.
But the definition is incorrect because it hasn't been updated.
Well, not only that, but as I said, and I always like to give credit to Sunny Megatron because this was where I heard it first. Kink turns me on, but that turning me on doesn't necessarily mean sexually turning me on. It could turn me on emotionally. It could turn me on mentally. And guess what? I'm a fucking adult. Even if I'm turned on sexually, that doesn't mean sex is happening.
Yeah. No, that's the part that people don't seem to understand. Just because you're turned on doesn't mean you're having sex immediately.
It helps introduce BDSM concepts and practices in a very relatable way. It's one thing to read and to look at a flogger and think, wow, that looks really scary. That looks heavy and hard. And then I come on and I tell you that, it doesn't have to be painful. You can use it very gently for just sensation play. And here's different kinds of floggers. And this type of flogger is going to hurt more than this type of flogger because of the materials and the falls and this and that. And I'm able to explain these concepts and practices in a way that other people can understand and relate to because I'm a real person. And when I talk about, and when you physically see me, I don't look scary.
Well, to me you do, but not to everybody else who doesn't know you.
Then you should be scared. But the people who don't know me don't know yet that they should be scared, and don't tell them.
Well, okay, I won't. Not telling anybody to be scared of rah-rah because we've never discussed that before ever.
Thank you. It's our secret.
Secret.
Another positive aspect is offering diverse perspectives and experiences shared. One of the things that helped for me is finding out that things that I thought were how everybody did it, when I talked to people in other communities and found out they did it differently.
Well, the best part about that, honestly, is these communities are, an hour or two away, some of them?
Some of them, yeah. And finding out, and different terminology, like I always talk about being a demo top. You always talk about being a demo top. I discovered that not everybody calls it that a demo top is something different. To them, a demo top is somebody who demonstrates one scene with their special demo bottom and people watch it. Like it's literally a demonstration of what we're doing, of a kink.
Okay.
And in their community, they call them house tops.
The people that do what we do are house tops?
Yes, that's a term other communities use.
Okay.
So I now refer to myself as a demo/house top. So hopefully more people will understand what I do.
I didn't know that was a term. I like that.
All right. So being able to talk to other people, talk to people who do what you do, but do it differently. Talk to people who are different than you. I mean, we always talk about how kink is customizable. It's so much easier to understand and accept the reality of that the more people you are exposed to. And you can see truly how customizable it is because it's literally right there on your For You page in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It also allows the inclusion of voices from marginalized communities. We just recently had, as part of Pink Kink Institute, the amazing Puplo Green come on and do a class called Building Better Communities, specifically about inclusion and diversity. And I would never have met Locrian if it hadn't been for TikTok. And other people, my friends down in Penny and Mike down in the southern part of the state, and find out how they do things and really getting an opportunity to hear from people who I wouldn't have otherwise been able to hear from. The fact that, they're BIPOC, maybe they're not hanging out in my community because my community doesn't make them feel comfortable, but they're hanging out on TikTok. And so you get exposed to that. And that is amazing. And their voices then can be amplified by those of us who are trying to support and make sure that they are being heard. One of my favorite things, honestly, and that TikTok really has done for me is the community building and support networks. Finding like-minded individuals in support. Through TikTok, I have met a huge bunch of other educators who I'm able to talk with and bounce ideas off of each other and ask them, hey, I never heard of this particular phrase. Is this something that is not true or just maybe not in my community? And they can be like, oh yeah, no, we do that in my community. I've heard of that. Or I came to them with something the other day and they went, yeah, no, don't have that in my community. Like 5 of them were like, no, we don't have it in our community. And we're from all over. I mean, we've got people in this particular group from Canada, from the West Coast, from Central, from East Coast. And we've got doms, subs, kinksters, littles. We've got, I think I'm probably the token straight, but it usually happens to me.
You're the token everything.
I'm the token everything. But queer people. And so I'm able to talk to them and learn from them. And we support each other, right? There was a time and a place where we worked really hard when somebody would come into TikTok who was brand new and was claiming to be certain things. We would kind of vet them behind the scenes to try to work together to see, because we feel very, I don't know if obligated is not the right word. We feel very protective of other kinksters. That's why we educate. And when we see somebody coming in with bad information, potential predators, we want to protect others and get the word out. So there's lots of stories of people finding Vixen, our friend Vixen. I found through TikTok, and now we're friends to the point that, like, they've been to my house.
Yep.
We've gone out for dinner and we've hung out together. They're like true friend. And none of that would have been possible without
I think
social
all of
media.
my closest friends are now like through the podcast in some way. My whole little littles group is because of the podcast. Little littles group? It's not that little anymore.
Right? I love the fact that we've really gotten this opportunity to encourage safe practices and consent together. Education on safe words, vetting, negotiations, promotion of all of this. I mean, the fact that people can come to us and say, hey, how do I vet? And we can go, oh, well, here's what you want to look for. One of my things that I love to talk about is red flags. But what I talk about is my red flag is not your red flag. And I think that's really important. I've seen too many discussions where somebody will say, if this happens, this is a red flag. And I'm like, excuse me, I don't mind if the person does that. That's totally okay with me. Because I think it's really important. If we are relying too heavily on this quote unquote list of red flags, we may miss something because your red flag is going to be different than my red flags.
I mean, your red flags are different than my red flags.
Yep. All right. So those are, to me, the positive aspects. Have I missed anything? Do you have anything you'd like to add on the positive aspects?
No.
Because negative's gonna be harsh.
Negative's going to be a lot more in it.
Negative's gonna be mean.
Oh, I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I like mean.
Well,
Let's go.
the next couple parts are all related. So here's some of the real risks and dangers. Misinformation and misconceptions. Particularly, for example, spread of inaccurate or dangerous practices. For example, prime fucking example, people using belts to create handcuffs.
I was gonna, yes. Or for breath play.
Yeah. There was a point in time where some really hot, sexy guy, and I have to admit, he was fucking hot and sexy. My type.
Mm-hmm.
Tall.
Big beastie and bear of a man.
Yes, with dark hair. Yes. Muscles too.
Like the one that I sent you on
Muscles
TikTok
I
where
could lick for days.
he was like flopping himself around in the PJ pants.
God, yes.
That was, I knew that was for you.
And I thanked them for that.
I knew that was for you.
So here's what happened. He made this video where he explained and showed how to take a belt and turn it into handcuffs. And of course, mostly women, because hot, sexy, half semi-naked guy. Oh my God, I want to do that. That's so hot. Oh, I wish you could do that to me. I wish my partner would do that to me. Yada, yada, yada. And the rest of us who actually have knowledge are coming on there going, do not do that. It is dangerous. If you want to do wrist bondage, that's awesome. That's cool. Please go buy specific cuffs for that are built to keep you safe. This is not safe, and we're going over. And, one of the problems and we run into is when we do this, number one, and this has happened many times, we get accused of ganging up on the person who's put out the bad information.
Yep.
And so we become the bad guys when all we're trying to do is make people safe. And we understand, let's say you have a group of 10 educators. We have different followers and some overlap of followers. So yes, if we all 10 of us each put out a video going, do not do this, it's dangerous, it's harsh. Some of you will see the same concept 10 times from all 10 of us. And then you're like, oh my God, you're all ganging up on him. And you're all just doing it for clout. That's another one we get accused of a lot. You're doing it for clout. No, we're doing it to try to keep you people safe.
No.
Thank you, Dr. Seuss. Cyst in the wrist.
Cyst in the wrist. I have a cyst in the wrist. Oh. And they were like, okay, did you do anything different? And I'm like thinking, no, I'm trying to figure out what the hell they're talking about. They're like, did you tie anything around it? And I said, yeah, I had a bandana tied around my wrist for a bit. I told them I went to a concert and I just tied my bandana around my wrist. They're like, oh yeah, we see that a lot with this kind of thing. Don't do that. That's what causes this. I was like, what? Really?
Yeah. And there's a challenge in distinguishing the credible sources from the unverified ones. One of the biggest problems that I particularly see on just about any social media, but it is really, really, really bad on TikTok, is somehow linking the amount of followers to the creator's knowledge.
Oh my God.
So the more followers you have, the more knowledgeable you are, and therefore the more I should believe you.
No.
Hell,
followers
fucking
equates
no.
you're pretty. That's it.
Pretty much. So wait a minute. So you're saying since we don't have a lot of followers, I'm not pretty?
No.
Okay, thank you. That's all
I'm
I need to
also
know.
saying because you don't pay to have your views boosted.
No. And here's another thing. Oddly enough, TikTok is one of the few platforms I've seen where men do better than women.
That's because we got a lot of thirsty women.
And at least with Kink Talk. Maybe it's not the case outside of Kink Talk, but within Kink Talk, I could say the exact same thing as one of the male creators. And from them, they're geniuses. Oh my God. I wish my partner would be like you, yada, yada, yada. I say it, and they're like, huh, what?
Sounds like being in corporate.
Yeah.
Or any job.
Right. And sadly, unsadly, there's no certification program that any of us can get. You can get a certification to become a sex educator. Mm-hmm. There are certifications for that. But there's no certification for being a kink educator.
So when people say on their TikTok, I'm a certified kink educator, really?
They're not. And we've had people do that.
Yeah, we have. I'm not even joking here. You can literally find these people and then you say, great, where's your certification? Where did you get it from? Because it doesn't fucking exist.
Right. And people don't vet any of these people. We went through a period of time where a bunch of us creators all got together and we each made our own individual post that said, please vet me. Here's my experience. Here's why I am knowledgeable. So you can now go check if everything I've said is correct and vet me. People are like, yeah, whatever. And again, TikTok could care less whether or not the people who are on there are putting forth correct information. So there's no regulation and there's no oversight on whether the content is accurate. I will tell you, I don't know how to break anybody's heart here. But if one is to believe TikTok, then making sure your submissive drinks your water is the most important thing any dominant can do. And I will tell you, most dominants don't.
Mine doesn't care.
Unless you specifically have said, if I were to have a dominant, not that I'm going to, but if I were to have a dominant, I probably would ask for that to be a rule. But that's because I have kidney issues and therefore I need to drink a certain amount for my kidneys. Not because I somehow thinks it makes them more dominant and me more submissive to tell me to drink.
I'm actually currently playing a game with a friend that's every time she flirts, she has to drink water. And we just added a condition to me. Every time I'm rude or mean to somebody, I have to drink water.
Oh my God, you're going to get water poisoning.
Why do you think I had to pee so bad earlier?
Oh, Dara's going to drown. I might want in on this game, but I'm afraid to figure out what, I don't know. That's what we'll have. Maybe I'll have you guys make me some suggestions.
All right.
Think about it and get back to me.
Oh, shit. Are we going to make a post about that in the servers? I am definitely doing that as soon as we're done with this episode.
It'll help me get my waters in.
Yeah. No. Oh, I'm now going to sit here and think about it because that's going to bug me.
Okay. You think about that. I'm going to keep going.
Okay.
I will tell you how incredibly frustrating it is about this. The number of platforms I've gone onto to make comments on posts saying this is not correct. And then I am basically told to shut up. And sometimes it's by the creators themselves, and sometimes it's by their sycophants. And I'm using the term sycophant on purpose because the adulation people have, the parasocial relationship that people have, I do not want sycophants. I mean, it sounds nice, but I don't need that level of responsibility.
It's nice in theory.
Yeah. Unless you're going to give me money. I don't need your sycophants. But one of the examples is there was a particular male creator who would go on with his female submissive. And I'm using this on purpose because this is, as I said, I saw a lot of if it's a male creator, they're more likely to have the sycophants and the adulation. And they admitted they were new to kink. They had only gotten involved in kink during 2020. Right?
That's a baby kinkster.
Which means that the first year and a half of being in kink was just the two of them at home and not going out because there was nothing to go out to.
I mean, but I spent a good 10 years doing that.
Right. But you also weren't then going on TikTok acting like you knew everything.
Also, TikTok didn't exist, but yes.
I wanted to point out how old you are.
Well, look, I've been kinking for over 20 years.
And again, I'm not, I think I need to preface this because this comes up a lot. I am by no means saying that if you only kink at home, that it is not valid or that you can't educate. It's not what I'm saying. However, what I am saying is if you are only kinking at home, then you need to be honest about your experience. And you need to not educate as if you know things you wouldn't know. I've run into this. I was in a panel with people where we were talking about things at dungeons. And one of the other panel members, who actually is an educator and has experience and is out and about in the community, said that drinking alcohol doesn't happen at dungeons. Dungeons don't have bars. And I went, I'm sorry, excuse me, my dungeon has. Yep. Right?
Not all dungeons are the same.
So if you're coming on there and you're claiming to know all this stuff, but you've never experienced it and you haven't, like, it just be honest about your experience and knowledge. It's okay to say, hey, listen, so I'm only ever kinked at home with my partner. So that's why I'm teaching a class on how to kink at home. Like, that's good. You've got the experience. I don't have that experience. You do. Teach it. That's awesome. But that's not what this particular creator was doing. And the thing centered around the fact that everything they were posting and talking about was always male dom, female submissive. And not that they were doing it like, we're just sharing our experience. It was like they were educating, and every time they would refer to things doms should do, they always called the dom he. And every time they talk about what submissive should do, they should call the submissive she. And I would type in the comments, listen, doms and submissives could be any gender.
I mean, at least go with they.
Right? So go with they. Then they went on to this whole thing about how brats are always submissive. And I'm like going, no, they're not. Like, if you're going to educate, be right. Brats are not always submissive. I will show you the brat doms. I'm one of them. We're all over the place. We exist. How do you think we deal with brat submissives? We just have to out-brat them. And do you remember? I got attacked by these people. They made posts about me And then I made a post without even calling them out where I just said, oh, obviously somebody's butt hurt. I upset somebody. And that took it to the next level. But I tried to vet them. I couldn't find anybody who knew them.
I remember.
Right? Then on top of that, then they started a podcast.
And that worked out so beautifully.
And then on top of that, then it became obvious that they were doing all of this to find a third.
Yep. And my biggest problem was it wasn't just that. Using the platform that you're supposed to be using as an educator and then using it for, I guess, sexual purposes. That's so deeply unethical. I can't even wrap my brain around it. That's vile.
And that's the problem. I mean,
predatory.
If you've been on Kink Talk long enough, you've heard about Elliot Winter, who also used Kink Talk to lure in young, new female submissives. Lots of problems. Oh my God, the number of people who started dating because they met each other on Kink Talk. And then it turns out one of them was a predator. And there's no way. It's like the blue check mark on only means that you actually are a real human being, not necessarily whether you're good or bad. And even Sunny Megatron had a hell of a time getting TikTok to give her a blue check mark, which is ridiculous. But then there's the fetishization. I can't say that.
Fetishization?
Thank you. And exploitation. And the risk of BDSM being sensationalized for views, where they're setting BDSM up as mere shock value or clickbait. And the impact of that is the perception it gives the general public. And it just reinforces all the negative stereotypes and stigma. There's privacy and safety concerns, potential exposure of individuals in the kink community, whether you're intentionally or unintentionally outing them. Doxing. We had somebody who claimed they were doxed. I don't know whether they were or not, because that person turned out to be a problematic person themselves, but they claimed they were being doxed and harassed. And seriously, I worry so about the information that people are learning and then taking out. Let's talk about aftercare, for example. I got reamed for saying a dominant top doesn't have to offer aftercare. I got reamed. I got called dangerous, a red flag. My community should be warned. Nobody should be playing with me. And these were all people who had never actually even kinked. They just like to read about this and think that they're a kinkster. The problem is I'm in the dungeon and I'm looking around. How often do you see people doing aftercare? Not everybody's doing aftercare. Maybe they're going home and doing it, or maybe they're not doing it at all. And I kept trying to educate, saying, look, we keep saying submissives should never be forced to do anything they don't want to. And yet you're telling a dominant they have to? I'm like, right? So the dominant's consent means nothing? And I even got into a live with one guy to try to argue this whole thing. And 99% of the people making the comments in there were like, Rara's right. You don't have to. Because I said, don't play with somebody if they don't offer aftercare and you want aftercare. Don't play with them then. It's that simple. But for me, who doesn't do aftercare, whether I'm the top or the bottom, if a top tells me they don't do aftercare, I'm going to be like, not a problem. I don't need it.
Yep.
I've done scenes with bottoms where I don't do the aftercare because then their partner is able to do it because I don't aftercare. And then what was stupid is this person made all these posts about me because somehow he got it into his head that when I said I don't do aftercare, I meant as soon as the person was done with the scene, I went, all right, goodbye, go away. And I said to him, no, I don't. I said, I make sure they're okay. I make sure they've had fun. I'll tell them, make sure you stay hydrated. He's like, oh, well, that's aftercare. I said, no, that's just being a nice human being. I don't consider that aftercare. To me, I'm being a human being. Are you okay? Yes or no? He's like, well, what happens if they say they're not okay? You're just going to send them on their merry way? I said, of course not.
So I feel like there's a difference in what the word aftercare means to different people. Just like, what does kink mean to people? What does all this other stuff mean? But like, I guess to him, putting somebody in a chair behind the table because they were having trouble standing up because they were high as fuck from my scene, that's aftercare. I wasn't doing anything with them. I just said, hey, go sit in that chair for a few minutes, take your time. I'm going to move on to my next scene. Could that be considered aftercare? No, not to me.
Right? To me, that's just being a good human being and a responsible top.
But I guess to other people, the fact that I said, hey, take a second, go sit in that chair, make sure you're good. I'm not doing anything other than providing the chair. I pointed to it.
And that's the problem is people make assumptions and then they share those assumptions as if they're fact. And other people read that and now they have their opinions and it's just problematic. So some of the key issues and ethical considerations is what responsibility do influencers and educators have? I think a lot. I think they have an absolute responsibility to ensure accurate, safe, and ethical information. And the problem is they don't, not all of them. And I'm not going to go into that a huge lot because we already did an entire episode on being an ethical educator. Mm-hmm. And if I were better and smarter than I am, I would have already written down what episode number that was, but I didn't. So sorry. You're just going to have to find that one yourself. We also, what does the impact of monetization and sponsorships have on the integrity of the information that you are putting out there? TikTok pays you for views if you sign up for that program. So obviously you want the more views. If the sensational information that's not necessarily accurate but looks fine is what's getting you all the views, which is making you all the money, and so you choose to do that instead because you want the money, where's your integrity in all of that? And what are the policies of the platform? I talk about suppression. TikTok is notorious for how they manage adult content. I have gotten dinged for wearing a low-cut shirt that doesn't show nipples, but I'm sorry, I'm fucking big boobed. So if I've got a low-cut shirt, there's going to be a fair bit of cleavage you are going to see. But meanwhile, I reported a TikTok where a woman flashed her nipple. It was clear as day. And I got told, no, it meets our guidelines, no problem.
Because she was young and skinny?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right? There's shadow banning. It is amazing. What they did is I initially had our Pink Kink as a business platform. So I got shadow banned in the hopes that I would then pay money to be able to get more views. So now I took it off of being a public company and make it now a person. And it still hasn't helped. I mean, I got Thanos'd. I would love to tell you why. I don't know. I just had an account and then boom, it was gone. With no content warnings, no violations, no nothing. And when I went to try to appeal, they're like, well, the account doesn't exist. It's like, I know you Thanos'd it. Can you put it back? Sorry, we don't have anything showing that we've ever had that account. 40,000 followers on that account, and it's gone. And now the lovely, joyful TikTok, what they do is they look and they say, oh, your VPN is the same. It might have a different name on the account, but the VPN is the same as the one with Thanos, so we're shadow banning you.
I hate tech sometimes. Like, get off our ass.
Right? So we are constantly fighting it. And I think as a result, more bad information is going out there than good information. But we continue to fight the good fight because there are positive stories. There are successful stories. You end up with some amazing influencers who give you high quality, responsible content. I mean, Sunny Megatron. I've learned so much from her. Midori's on there. There's amazing things. I've met all these other wonderful educators from there. I have a couple of stories from testimonials, if you will, from some individuals who said that they completely benefited from social media education. One person said, having proper education surrounding the BDSM lifestyle has helped me to not only become a stronger romance writer with more accurately depicted BDSM scenes, but also helped my own personal relationships, romantic and otherwise, as well. Another friend said it's helped me to identify red flags that I might not have even known were red flags in others when I was just entering the scene and starting my learning. And then finally someone said, as someone who has been practicing privately for years, 16 give or take, and just found out about the entire community, social media made it possible for me to find resources in other ways. And even though I still don't do anything publicly, having people who do has given me insights and resources I wouldn't have known existed otherwise. So there are positives. So basically, what I want you guys to walk away from this particular episode with is a healthy dose of, now I forgot what the word I was looking for. Don't believe everything you see or hear. And to the best of your ability, vet your kink educators on these platforms. Do not associate and correlate the number of views and followers they have with how much knowledge they have. Don't listen to just one kink educator. Try to find multitude of kink educators. Don't even assume just because you did find somebody that you like, that they follow another educator, that is proof of that other educator being good. I follow some people I don't like, specifically because I want to know what they're doing and saying so that maybe I can make content telling you the reality versus the shit that they're putting out. I still want to know what that word is that I can't think of.
I don't know, because you didn't get out enough of the sentence for me to figure it out.
A healthy dose of
skepticism?
Yes, thank you. That will work.
Okay. I did it.
Thank you, because I would have been up all night.
I translated rah-rah.
Trying to think of what that fucking goddamn word is. So just verify, vet. If you've got 5 vettable educators saying the same thing, then yes, I think it's safe to believe that. But not just 5 educators, just 5 variable educators. And I think that's sort of, just be responsible in your consumption of the content. And don't believe everything you hear.
Skepticism.
There you go. Anything you need to add to that?
Skepticism.
You want to say that one more time?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you enjoyed what you heard, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a minute of our fun and educational content. New episodes drop every Friday.
If you love what we do and want to show support, there are several ways. Join us on Patreon at patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast. You can support our affiliates or help spread the word about our kinky podcast to your friends.
Don't forget to rate and review Pink Kink on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Those 5-star reviews go a long way in boosting our podcast through the algorithm and reaching more listeners.
Sign up for our Pink Kink Institute classes. Shop at our Etsy shop, Pink Kink Boutique. Stay connected with us on social media. You'll find all the links on our link tree posted in the show notes.
Your support means the world to us. So until next time, stay pretty, stay safe,
and stay twisted.